Hi guys, welcome or welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Shraddha. I'm 23. I'm a Malaysian Indian immigrant, and I'm currently in Boston visiting my family. My parents just got back from India a couple weeks ago, so I knew I wanted to come home and visit them and also raid their pantry and eat all of the food in the house, which is what I have always done. That's exactly why my mom and I went to Whole Foods and Costco the other day to stock up on all the goods, because between my niece and nephew and I, somehow the food in my parents' house is always disappearing. As some of you guys may already know, before moving to the United States, my mom and I lived in 3 other countries: India, Myanmar, and Thailand. So a lot of what we eat at home on a regular basis is influenced by the cuisine in those countries. I moved outside, by the way, because my parents are in the house now and they just won't stop talking. Do you see why I'm the way that I am? It's their fault. Anyways, food has played such a huge role in our lives, and I'm going to be talking about the impact it has had on us while showing you guys some of the foods I've been eating since I've been home. I definitely eat way differently when I'm here versus when I'm cooking for myself in my apartment. So let's get into it with our first meal. There's an airplane. I can hear an airplane. This first meal was really special. You know the backstory of it if you already follow me on Instagram, but essentially my mom and I went to our neighbor Alice's house. Alice is an immigrant from Shanghai, China, and she now runs a successful Chinese restaurant here in Massachusetts. She showed us how to make wonton soup and dumplings. My wontons turned out looking like absolute aliens, so I only showed you Alice's for all of our sake, but just so you know, making wontons, not my strong suit. Did my best, really did. It was just amazing to be in Alice's kitchen, learning more about her culture, the cuisine in China, and how different regions have their own cuisine and dishes, which is similar to India, because if you go to the northern parts of India, you'll find different flavor profiles within their meals versus if you go to the south of India, which is where I grew up. And speaking of growing up, ever since I was young, I remember my mom constantly meeting new people, inviting them over for dinner, going to other people's houses, and she's always making friends from all over the world and teaching them about our culture, learning about theirs, and it's something I've always admired about her. Over here to the left, you see Ingrid, who's also one of their friends. She's an immigrant from Mexico, and we were all just laughing and talking and having a great time. It kind of dawned on me when we were together that we were all actually immigrants and we have so much in common, but there's so much about us that's different at the same time. In this video clip, you can see me being an absolute idiot. I had a hot bowl of soup and I just didn't even blow on my spoon or anything before putting it in my mouth. So yes, I burned my tongue. And then here we have Alice preparing the dumplings. These were vegetarian dumplings, and then the wontons were shrimp and chicken wontons. We ended up leaving her home with full stomachs. We were excited to have learned some new things, and we also left with a Tupperware container full of wontons and dumplings, which I am very happy about and have been eating since we had this meal. This next meal that my mom made was inspired by Chinese food, and in India, a lot of people love Chinese food. We have our own category of it called Indo-Chinese food, and it's Chinese food with an Indian twist. I used to crave this Napa cabbage side dish my mom is making all the time when I was younger, and when we lived in India, she would make it about once a week because it was so simple and still nutritious. So I just had this with a side of tofu, and then she was boiling some of those wontons again to make wonton soup. We finish our leftovers in this household. No food goes to waste. Moving on to chicken curry, this is definitely a favorite to make when people come over because everybody loves curry. It is so rich in flavor, spices, it's high in protein, and so nutritious. So many countries make their own variations of curry, and I absolutely love it. Thailand, Indonesia, Nigeria, Vietnam, these are just some of the places that make such incredible curries. My mouth is literally watering thinking about it. And as you can see, a lot of spices go into it. Almost every Indian household will have have what we call a spice dabba. It is this round stainless steel container with smaller containers in it full of the core spices you use in Indian cooking. I'm going to need to get myself one the next time I go to India, but guys, don't tell anyone this. I have never made an Indian meal by myself. It's honestly slightly embarrassing considering I love Indian food so much and I grew up in India, but we're working on it. This year I'm going to make an Indian meal. Hold me accountable. I will film it and share the recipe with you guys. My mom doesn't measure anything in the kitchen. She just eyeballs it all. So when I film it, I'll measure things out. And if it's good, I'll share it with you. If it's bad, I'll share it with you with the warning, but let's all hope I do a good job. And then we're moving on to dal, which is something else my mom loves to make when people come over. It's essentially lentils in a soupy consistency. While we were cooking and getting ready for people to come over, I played some Bollywood music that I grew up listening to. I'm such a throwback music person. I always prefer throwbacks. Anyways, back to the food. My mom made some fried potatoes and then cauliflower as some veggie side dishes. She is always making so many different items when people come over, and then I was in charge of the appetizers. So we have some garlic naan crackers from Trader Joe's with some hummus, which apparently I really struggled to get open because this clip is painful to rewatch. But once I finally got that done, I put it in a little bowl, poured some mixture into bowls. Mixture is basically a bunch of savory snacks, nuts, something we call muruku, which I do not know how to translate to English, but it ended up being a great evening. I love that I've been able to get to know my parents' friends better. And that is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it and learned a little bit more about my culture, background, the way food has impacted our lives as immigrants. Thank you so much for watching. I love and appreciate you. Thank you for your support as always, and I will see you next week. Bye!